I would really applaud for example, the efforts that many of the packaging-free shops are doing in Europe. What we see is that in some countries in Europe, they've organized themselves and they're setting up very quickly in different parts of the country. What we see is they're very well received. Customers really like the fact that they can buy the fruit and vegetables and other staples without the packaging. And at the same time, what we see is that these businesses base their supply chain on local fruit and vegetables, and therefore they're very good for the local economy. And in fact, what would be ideal is that we in Europe incentivize this sort of business above the single-use plastic business model that we see so much at the moment. I mean, it is true that consumers have a lot of power through their consumer choices in order to reduce their plastic pollution and environmental footprint. But it is ultimately the responsibility of companies to put in place sustainable alternatives to the current single-use plastic packaging and products that we see. And it is the role of governments as well. I commend and I applaud many citizens that are making everything they can and making enormous efforts to buy things without, for example, packaging. But ultimately, there's so much you can do, because there's times where there's no alternative to buying things without the packaging. What it is true is that at the EU level, last week, there was a new legislative proposal that was tabled. This is a world first, and we have, for the first time, more or less a continent that would take a coordinated approach to plastic pollution. A lot of the time, plastic pollution is not that difficult to fight, and it is going back to what maybe our grandparents used to do. So forward thinking, a lot of the time, is just thinking practically and thinking in a way that solutions are promoted. And we see also that all around the world. It's not only in Europe that we see countries banning certain plastic items and communities going back to how they used to consume, which is more sustainable and it is good for the planet and for the local economy.